Hello, everybody. Thank you for joining us today. My name is Christina from Circonte. I am here to welcome you to our session. Our presenter, Zack, is here with an amazing session about a migration from Eloqua to Pardot, and I am going to kick things over to him to get started.
Thank you for that introduction, and welcome to my presentation. For the next 30 minutes, we'll be going through my journey of migrating from Eloqua to Pardot. The session objectives are, I'll give you a bit of a background about me. That should take up most of the half hour, and if there's time, we'll go through the marketing automation platform overview, give you an idea of my current landscape, and then the pros, cons, and solutions of Pardot, and then we can open the floor up for questions. This presentation is designed for marketers who are new or considering Pardot. In addition, marketers who are experienced with marketing automation platforms, or I'll be calling them maps as we move forward. A little bit about me. My name is Zack. Currently, I am the Marketing Operations Manager at ICE Mortgage Technology. You might hear a bit of a Canadian accent throughout the presentation. That's because I am from Kitchener-Waterloo, Ontario, Canada. That's just outside of Toronto. Waterloo is known for this little doohickey here called the BlackBerry. Tech exploded. I was always involved in tech. I've seen, my presentations in high school from being used in a typewriter to high-speed internet. So I've really kind of seen that digital age take off. BlackBerry was huge. I did a small stint with them and then went to the big company next door called OpenText. When I was at OpenText, I was a Salesforce administrator. And our CMO came in and said, we're going to be using this other Canadian company platform called Eloqua for marketing automation platform. No one knew what it was. No one even knew how to pronounce Eloqua. And from there, we learned. We were trained by a lot of the original Eloqua employees that went to Couch & Associates, and I'll talk about partners as we go forward. From there, really got to understand the system quite well, got involved in top liners, got really a good understanding of marketing automation platforms. From there, I went to go work at a startup, really again, got to spread my wings and understand then how a small company gets built into a large one. I understood marketing automation platform systems so well that people would call me and say, hey, Zack, what do you recommend? What does this do? What do you recommend our company should do? That actually went out on my own and had some big clients, also worked with partners such as Quarry, and again, got really known as a subject matter expert in Eloqua and marketing automation platforms. So much so that a company out of Sunnyvale, California, reached out to me and said, hey, would you like to come work for us? We'll take care of everything, come down. They were using a lot of partners. They were still on E9, and I migrated them over to E10, got their systems kind of cleaned up. And so much so, again, I'm being in the space that Oracle reached out to me and said, we need someone in corporate marketing to come help us with our tier 1 campaigns and events. So I was working in advanced campaign services and really had a team in Bogota, Bozeman, and in Bangalore. With that, really got to implement best practices, A/B testing, really kind of even have veto power of how many emails should go out. All this being said, I definitely have been in this space for quite some time. So let me give you some context here of where ICE Mortgage Technology is. We're a market leader. We're in the mortgage software industry and based in Silicon Valley. Longtime Eloqua user. And the term market leader will come through again because I've always worked for these large market leaders. With that, we were previously known as Ellie Mae, and we were acquired last year by the company that owns the New York Stock Exchange, Intercontinental Exchange, for $11 billion. So we had some changes in the company. We had a lot of challenges with Eloqua. Our contract renewal was coming up, and there had to be updates. So we were looking at different maps. We had challenges with our CRM, the data quality, like every other company has challenges with it. How to make things scalable as you acquire, as you have different products. The change into Lightning. At the moment, to be clear here, is Pardot, we currently have disconnected from our Salesforce. We are working on a large project to update our Salesforce CRM, and it's one of the reasons, again, we went with Pardot, and I'll explain as we go on. Our goals and objectives were very, very clear. This company truly believes in its people, process, and technology. So do we have the people to work that marketing automation platform? Is the process right? Is this technology going to work right for us and with our other systems? Some of the challenges we had with Eloqua were there wasn't a stable connection between the map and CRM. We were spending time and maintaining it, trying to get things to work rather than actual doing the proper things through our marketing day-to-day. There was also Apex changes coming up, and again with the timing. So with our contract renewal, with changes happening to our Salesforce, it was a good opportunity for us to look at a different map. In addition, as much as we love partners, we wanted to be more self-reliant. We didn't want to have everything kind of helped out with partners, with all these complexities, with all this customization. We want to do a lot more things in-house. And most importantly, we wanted better visibility of our marketing activities in Salesforce for our reps. We do all this work for marketing. We want that to be representative and visible to our reps using Salesforce. So, quick overview. If we look at the graph here, or the chart here on the left, and this information is from Email Monday, really good site if you guys want to check them out. So in terms of marketing automation kind of share here, HubSpot's large. Then there's Marketo, Acton, Pardot. But really, in terms of the larger enterprise companies, Eloqua is still the leader. Eloqua really does a few things extremely well. Eloqua integrated with Salesforce so well that's why Eloqua blew up, and Oracle purchased it for $840 million. Salesforce purchased Pardot. And so you can really see here that between these companies, it was really down to continue with Eloqua, look at Pardot, or look at Marketo. So the pros of Pardot. Pardot lives in Salesforce. It's a seamless in-house integration, and that is critical for us. It's a simplified and shared data structure. So when we talk about things, we're talking about everything within Salesforce and Pardot. We have consistent metrics because, again, it's all built into one thing. We can do embedded account level marketing, and more importantly, it aligns with our sales and marketing strategy. Continued with the pros. We have transparent lead prioritization, so it goes right away to our sales reps. There was great training support in terms of our integration and moving over into a new map. And again, that stability of having the map built into our CRM is nearly priceless. I am a firm believer, if you're going to use Salesforce as your CRM, you must use Pardot as your map. In addition, we have consolidated costs. And for the record, Marketo was the most expensive. There was a time when Marketo was cheap, and that's why it kind of built up and really became a strong competitor with Eloqua. So again, the consolidated costs and those marketing activities for sales. In Eloqua, the insights a lot of times wouldn't work. Now the marketing activities from Pardot are right in the Salesforce feed. Really good features and functionality with Pardot. Einstein, if you're not familiar with it, please take a look. It's the AI. There's engaged, and there's account and persona-based marketing. The reason why I say both is I'm a firm believer that the term account-based marketing is far overused. Persona-based marketing feeds account-based marketing, which as a whole is marketing. So, but again, there's really good features and functionality with Pardot. This is our approach to our migration. For a while, we were using dual systems. So there's parts of Pardot that require the IP warming, that just take time and effort to move things over. So for a good couple of months, we were using both Eloqua and Pardot at the same time, which was great because if there was a challenge with Pardot, we still had Eloqua as a fail-safe. Proper project planning. This is critical. One of my roles in this was to make sure that we met our deadlines. We were trying to align with our larger Salesforce project, and it was critical for us to hit dates. And with that, it's absolutely critical to understand what's happening in those milestones, to communicate them, and to stay on plan. We use Confluence pages, we use Slack, email. We made sure that all of the stakeholders were buying into this. My customers are sales. They had to understand why I'm changing maps and what's in it for them. In addition, I needed the buy-in from my superiors or upper management because I had the green light from them to make sure that we had what we called MVP, the minimal viable product. So that way there wasn't this huge pressure that everything had to be perfect when we flicked the switch. They understood the realities of switching to a whole new system in a short time frame. Knowledgeable staff. My peers, my coworkers, all knew Eloqua very, very well. Now, as the manager of marketing ops at ICE Mortgage Technology, I do not own Pardot. That is not part of the MarTech stack. That is on our IT team. And we have a person who is very knowledgeable with Pardot. That helped us out. In addition, we utilized not only Serconte, but also Demand Gen, now BDO Digital. Partners were very, very important to us. There was no way that we could have proceeded and done so well without them. All right, so with Pardot, there was a lot of challenges. No marketing automation system is perfect. Every marketing automation sales rep will tell you that it rains gold. No, it doesn't. There was a steep learning curve for Pardot. We're 11 months in, and we still have weekly meetings to try to figure things out. But we were realistic about this. You must have a long runway in order to understand how this product will fit your organization. It takes time to build this muscle memory, and quite often I could do things in Eloqua with my eyes closed. But in Pardot, you know, there's a different kind of structure. Fortunately, our solution is there's Trailhead, there's a spot for Pardot, again, partners. There's certification and training, there's user groups, and our inner team really works well together to share information. Another challenge, the UI structure. I feel in general that Pardot, in terms of the UI, wasn't really built with marketers in mind. I even find a lot of the Trailhead stuff, to be completely blunt here, is a little childish with the animations. I did find Eloqua to be a lot more professional. However, it just takes time to learn the system. There's nothing really for our day-to-day tasks that Pardot cannot do. So that's a great check. One thing that I find very frustrating with Pardot is it allows for duplicate records. That was really great with Eloqua of having the email as a unique identifier across the board. Now, how did we solve for allowing for duplicate records? If you are considering Pardot, you must tell them at the very beginning if you want this enabled or not. You cannot be changed later. That's something I wish that they would have highlighted a little bit more or whatnot, but it is what's there. And straight up, we have not had any issues with this yet, but as we go through our data cleansing, I'm sure that this will become more of a bit of an issue. The power of Pardot is enhanced through the integration of Salesforce. Again, I'm a firm believer if you're using Salesforce as your CRM, Pardot is the best map to go with it. Again, at the moment, we are disconnected. We're using APIs to send things as we're updating our new version of Salesforce. But that's when we're going to be able to utilize the reporting, the connected campaigns, the scoring, grading, Einstein, all that kind of stuff. All right, another challenge. Pardot simply isn't as powerful or customizable as Eloqua. Plain and simple. Eloqua is great at that. That's why it is so complex. Again, no marketing automation system is perfect. None of them reign gold. None of them. This would be the same if we went with Marketo. And from my personal opinion of my history of using Marketo, it is the worst out of all the systems. I definitely would rank Eloqua Pardot and far, far, far low Marketo. Another challenge we have with Pardot is the speed of the system. Reports, uploads, things that we were quite used to in Eloqua of uploading them and having it there pretty quickly takes time with Pardot. Some of the solutions for that, I go get a coffee. I also let the partners know that we would like to see more of a increased bandwidth with Pardot. I must say that support has been very, very good. I was very, very disappointed with Eloqua support. I think there's the worst. Quite often with Eloqua support, you would contact them about a situation. They would say, no, there's no problem, hang up on you. 2 days later, you'd get an email that they're going to release a patch to fix a bug. Pardot support is far, far better. And also in terms of how to deal with the speed, you just have to plan things, right? To know how long it really takes to set up a campaign, to get a test email, etc. The platform structure, their emails, the templates versus lists, it's not as clear as Eloqua's. Eloqua's is very clear for its kind of assets. This has a little bit of different idea with it. And again, no system is perfect. Another challenge. In Eloqua, you could almost pivot from anywhere in terms of starting a campaign or an asset and do something with it. Pardot is far more rigid. So you must follow a certain set of instructions. So once you learn it, it's all right. But quite often you'll be caught making another window or tab open, trying to create things in order to proceed, which is a little frustrating. Another challenge with Pardot is it just doesn't appear that the product was built with email marketers in mind. Again, no system is perfect. This is definitely a gap or a blind side with Pardot. Unfortunately, this is just reality on reality's terms. Pardot is making updates and efforts to improve their email editors and kind of the system, so that's very hopeful. Pardot's email editor requires a deeper knowledge of HTML. Fortunately, the way we solve this is we get help from others, not only coworkers and peers, but also from our partners. And just like all the other marketing automation systems, the email templates and editors are quite weak. Furthermore, with forms, they don't have conditional steps. That was a great thing that we had in Eloqua. This forces the user to create rules and run them in the background. It gets a little complicated. And to really call Pardot out on this, there's limitations on the number of automation rules you have. Sure, you can pay for more, but again, this was something that we found to be easier to do in Eloqua, but it's not a game stopper. We can still proceed. The reporting there with the difference between list emails and templates in eStudio, I wish that there was more of a consolidated view of it. It forces us to export things and try to match things up or to think of campaigns differently. Data cleansing. So in form submissions, when it comes through in Pardot, so for instance, a campaign ID either will get overwritten or you can have it concatenated. So when you're doing a report and you're exporting that, it becomes a little bit more messy and you have to do a little bit more digging or plan for the campaign better. Now, as we come near the end of the presentation, here's some helpful hints. So please take note. You must have the right realistic attitude for a migration. You need to have those long runways, those buy-ins, the communication, and that focus on exactly what you're trying to accomplish from the migration. Setting those proper expectations, setting up backup plans, letting people know exactly where you are in the process. Furthermore, keep things as simple as possible. Again, I was super fortunate that my superiors allowed us to have that MVP to just for them to know that we're trying to do something completely different, and that's going to take time, and we will get there. Again, I highly recommend you work with a partner. If you're an organization that thinks that they can kind of go through the migration alone, I think it's possible. But again, partners add a tremendous amount of value. So at this time, I'd like to open the floor for any kind of questions, comments, suggestions, praise. If anyone wants to share that with us, please let me know. Here's a few ways that you can get a hold of me. I hate Facebook, but here I am. Instagram's even worse. LinkedIn, it's nothing but ads right now, and I barely use Twitter, but I am on them. So please do reach out if you have any questions via email.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Zach. We do have a little time for questions, and I have a few here. So Daniel asked, how much time would you recommend to make a smooth transition from one marketing automation platform to Pardot?
That's a very difficult question. Depends on the size of the organization, depends on what you're trying to accomplish. I would really just have those questions with your stakeholders and set those proper ones. To just say how much, 2 months, 2 weeks, it's too much of a variable for every organization.
Okay, and we have another here from Ben. How would you compare Pardot, Salesforce's product release quality and frequency with Eloqua's?
Far better, far better. And that's one thing that we like. We see that the product's always improving. I think that it has to do a little bit of catch up with Eloqua, but it's going in a different direction. Einstein's great. The Engage, those are things Eloqua kind of more works on some of the gears, but it's not really going towards modern marketing as much as it says. Pardot's far more advanced on that.
Okay. Those were the only questions that I saw in the chat. You did get some praise, as you said. So there were a lot of people saying they loved your candor and great job. And I agree. This was an awesome presentation. Thank you so much. I know I learned a lot, and I'm sure everybody else did as well. Thank you guys so much for joining us. And just a shout out to thank our sponsors as well. Please pop over to their booths, learn a little bit about what they do. ParDreamin would not be possible without our sponsors. The Pardot roadmap session is going to be coming up in a little bit. It's the only session that is not recorded at ParDreamin, so you have to catch it live. I hope you guys will pop over to catch that. We have one last question, and we actually do have a minute left. How do you compare Eloqua API capability to Pardot's?
Far better. So Pardot has quite a few connectors already built in. The connectors, if they're not in Pardot, there's usually a Salesforce connector. And really APIs are just kind of calls and stuff. But again, having those things already built in, having Pardot into your Salesforce and having those options, you can't beat that.
Okay, awesome. So yeah, hop on over to the Pardot roadmap session, and I hope you guys are enjoying ParDreamin. And thank you so much, Zach. It has been awesome listening to your story.
Thank you, Christina. Thank you, everyone.